And start to sit comfortably. You know, let yourself be mindful of sitting easy for your hips. Letting your legs stretch out long, or maybe you prefer to sit cross-legged. Just take your time, let yourself enjoy feeling your breath coming in and going out through your nose. Starting to watch the breath. Feel the breath coming into your belly, and if you need to kind of wiggle around a little bit, shift around to get really comfortable for your hips here. Let yourself start to release through your face, letting go through your jaw. And easily start to circle with your breath a little bit with your torso. And you can start very small with these circles. You may decide to stay very small. Or you may feel like you want to let the circles get bigger and bigger if that feels good up into your hips and your back. If not, just stay small and let yourself move with your breath where you're comfortable to be. Ready to go the other direction, you stop where you choose so that you can just start to move in the opposite direction like you're unwinding here. That you do end up forward in those circles, let yourself stay in a little bit of a forward bend. Depends on you, how far you want to go. You may want to just place your hands where you support yourself quite a bit up, right? Or you may want to walk farther out and let yourself fold out over your legs some. So just breathe, enjoy, accepting those nice, easy breaths. Gradually releasing all around your eyes and your mouth. And then just come up enough so that you can walk out over towards your right thigh. Just let yourself come out over that right thigh and enjoy. Draw the left sit bone back just a little bit. It'll probably be off the floor. That's fine. Just let it draw back so you feel a little more on your sideways. And then keep your right hand on the floor, but float your left arm up, just a hand a little off the floor, just so you find like you're reaching through your fingertips, just a little more stretch through that side. And then bring that left hand back down. We're going to walk back through center. And we're going to go to the other side. So again, you may be up higher. That's fine. Just extending out over that leg. You may decide you want to go farther over the leg. That's up to you. But give the body a chance to adjust here. Feel that sense of just drawing back a little bit with your right sitting bone. And then float your right hand up off the floor a bit, like you're reaching out through your fingertips. It's like you're trying to reach something maybe that just is a few inches away from you there. And then go ahead and bring the hand on back down, and we're going to walk back into center again. And from here, let's walk ourselves all the way on back upright. And let our fingertips come out onto the floor beside us. And inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down to be in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse and inhale the hands right up to the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. Now just bring your hands a little bit off the floor and flex both your hands. Alright, so they're only a few inches really off the floor. And then tilt your right ear towards your right shoulder just a little bit, just to come into the side of the neck stretch there. And then rise on back up with the head and go a little bit the other way. Just feeling that sense of finding a little more release there through the side of the neck. And then come on back up to the top. Inhale here. And on the exhale, come in and twist to your right. Let your arms stay like this, just as far as you can go in the twist using your back. And then go ahead and lower your hands down, wherever you want your hands to be, coming into the twist here. Feel the sitting bones drawing down. Let yourself feel the belly engaging here. Good. One more inhale. And as you exhale and start to head back to center, come back to where you're flexing the hands again and they're low, and you're right at center. Right? Inhaling here. And on the exhale, we're going to twist the other way. So it's like you lift to twist almost, right? Find that twist in the middle of the back. And then when you're ready to lower your arms, just let them come. Hands come where you want. Coming into that twist easily. Doesn't matter where you look, you know that. You can look towards the wall beside you. You can look a little more behind yourself if you choose to. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, use your belly to draw you on back into center. And now, remember which leg you have in front. We're going to bring our feet onto the floor and just let our hands come behind us. And you can turn your hands the other way if you choose to, or you can leave your fingertips facing forward. That's up to you. And just lift your hips up a little bit. And then let your hips come on back down. So a couple of times. Lift up and then lower down. And you can go as high up as you want. And if you're able to go up and stay for a breath, go up and stay in that 4-foot table for a breath. If not, don't do it. If it doesn't feel good in your shoulders or your wrists, don't do it. And then we'll release and come on back down. And now let your feet come further away from you. And you may want to turn your hands differently depending on you. And let your knees just come from one side to the other. So you just release side to side. Doesn't matter how far you go. Just where it feels good. If you like to stay on one side, like that for a breath, do it. You want to just hang out and let your body adjust on one side being. And then we'll come on back up and we're going to switch the cross of our legs. So if you need to stretch them out longer, first do, and then bring your other leg in front. And then we'll come on forward from here with our hands behind us. So you can clasp your hands, you can hold a wrist if that feels better, or let one hand kind of wrap itself around the wrist. Just ease your way forward with a long flat back. Now, flex your feet. Feel the outside edges of your feet pressing down into the floor. On your next inhale, come on back up again. Let yourself lengthen up. We're going to do that same thing again. As you exhale, come forward, press down into the outside edges of the feet. You might be able to come a little farther than you were. And then come on back up again. And we're going to do it one more time. So as you exhale, letting yourself ease forward. Stay here for a couple of breaths. If you can let your head hang, do. And we will from here rise on back up and let our hands walk behind us. Now you can stay on fingertips if you choose. Drawing your chest forward and your shoulders back, letting yourself open up through the front of your body. Look wherever feels good for your neck. You know, if you feel better to look forward, look forward. If you like to look up a little, do. Just be really mindful of your neck. And then you're going to rise on, back up. And from here, stretch your legs on out. Let them be in front of you. Circle through your feet and your ankles a little bit. Do little wiper legs too if you want to. Little leg bounces might feel good. Depends on what feels good. And then just sitting up here and feeling your heels on the ground, pressing into the balls of your feet, coming into staff with your hands directly underneath your shoulders, palms facing down, lengthening up through the top of your head. Be aware of what your pelvis is doing. Remember, you don't want to let the tailbone curl forward. You're reaching the tailbone a little bit back and down, all right? And from here, let's inhale the right arm all the way out and up overhead. And then go ahead and take your left hand out a little bit, bend your elbow a little bit of that bottom arm, and go ahead and come into side stretch. You're breathing into the right side. Let the breath help you expand the ribs. And then we're going to rise on back up. Use your belly to help you. We'll switch arms, so bringing that left arm up overhead. And then again, as you just bring the hand out a little bit and the elbow just a little bit, but really let the breath come into that left side there. Still feel your heels in the floor, still be drawing them back towards you a little bit. Feel that activity in your legs. And then we'll rise on back up again and bring our arms on down. Shake your hands out, circle them a little bit. And we're going to come on around towards our hands and knees. So if you need to, grab blankets under your knees or your hands, use them. If your wrists are bothering you, feel free to come to fist or go down to your forearms if you want. And then just wag your tail a little bit and let yourself just feel your hips going side to side. Let the upper body respond however it wants. And then just come on back into center. Look down between your hands there. Make sure they feel pretty good, how you have your hands placed. Spread the fingers nice and wide. And then as you exhale, draw on up into your cat pose. Let yourself stay here for a breath or two. Feel the hands in the floor. Feel the tops of the feet into the ground, gently pressing. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and send your tailbone back and up and move back through into your cow. So just move at your own pace now here. Be mindful of anywhere you might feel tightness or maybe you're a little sore someplace in the back or in your neck or in your hips. Just see if you can still just imagine flowing through the back and letting it feel really like that it eases any little ache you might have, any little discomfort. And then finish off the one you're on so that you can then come on back into that neutral spine, looking down between your hands. And let's bring our left forearm down parallel to the front edge of our mat and stretch our right arm towards the front of the mat here. And go ahead and lay your head down on your arm. It should feel really good to let your chest melt down towards the ground. Just be mindful if it hurts your shoulder, you can kind of change how you have that right hand up there overhead. If you need to soften the elbow, do, right? Just let it feel really easy as you let the heart melt down towards the ground. And then bring your right hand back so you can use it to press your way up. And we're going to go down onto our right forearm parallel to the front edge of the mat and stretch our left arm out overhead towards the front of the mat. But again, this is all regarding your shoulder up to you. If you need to adjust, if that arm overhead is too much, if you need to change it, if you need to let the elbow soften, do. But let the chest melt down. Feel that release between your shoulder blades on your back. Good. And then from here, bring your hand on back. And if you can, from here. And then you may want to get a blanket. See if you can come up like you're standing on your knees. So you're coming all the way up. And if you need a blanket, because that feels like too harsh and your knees on the ground, just get a blanket under your knees. So imagine here, you've got all this movement that can happen with your pelvis, right? So see if you can imagine your tailbone dropping directly down below your tailbone, so you're not tucking up under, right? And then from there, see if you can lean back just a little bit. If you put your hands on your hips, sometimes you can kind of tell what your pelvis is doing. And then rise back up. So it doesn't take much. When you lean back just a little bit, you feel your quads, right? And then when you come on back forward, you're right there again, right over your knees. So one more time, coming back, see if you can stay there for a breath. Look up just a tiny bit. And then rise on back up. And we're going to inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down to the midpoint of our hearts. And then we're going to release and come back down with our hands to the mat. We're going to stretch our right leg back behind us and Curl our toes under, press into the heel here. And then float your leg up about parallel to the floor. And let's draw the leg over to the right and put the foot on the floor, like out beside your mat, maybe a foot or 18 inches away from the mat. And the toes are facing forward, so your foot is parallel to your mat edge, right? And then you can stay here. You can shift your hips back a little bit if you want, coming into finding that inner thigh. I'm going to try to get the foot fully on the floor. And then bring that leg back, swing it over now across to the other side of the mat. Curl your toes under, look back over your left shoulder, and let yourself just release there. All through that whole right side of your body. Good. And then come back and fold that right thigh right behind your left foot. So it's like you're coming into having yourself almost an eagle legs, right? Thigh over thigh there. And now shift your weight to your right hand, bring your left hand on up to your left hip. And if you want, you can stretch that arm overhead. Then you got to really squeeze your thighs towards each other to find stability, maybe. And then we're going to release and bring that left hand down. Release back to hands and knees, but shift back into pose of a child for a breath here. So totally up to you how far you go towards child's pose. You can keep your hips up in the air. Trying to let yourself find release in your low back and your hips. And just breathe. Enjoy feeling the breath expand the low back. Let your chest melt down towards the ground. And then we're going to come on back up to all fours. So coming on back up so we can send the left foot behind us. Curl your toes under on the mat there. Press into the heel. Engage your belly. Zip up your belly. And feel as equal as you can between your hands. Good. We're going to float the leg up. And remember from here, we're going to go ahead and send it to the left and onto the floor with your foot maybe up, out from your hand, maybe lower. But make sure, again, the foot is about parallel to that long edge of your mat and the foot is fully on the ground. And if you want a little more, sometimes just shifting your hips back a little bit brings a little more into the inside of the leg there. So just enjoy it. Let it feel good. Good. We're going to bring that leg on back, up and over and across to the other side of your mat. Look back over your right shoulder. Press into the heel. Come into that side of the body here. So really feel that stretch through your side waist. Feel your hands in the mat. And then we're going to come back and we're going to put that left thigh right behind the right. So your knees are both on the ground. You might need to adjust your hands so that you can shift onto that left hand. Bring your right hand on up to your right hip. And maybe even stretch the right arm up overhead. Squeeze your thighs towards each other. So you're engaged. Very engaged. Squeezing those thighs towards each other. Letting yourself find that twist. And of course you're really coming into your shoulders. We're going to release and come on back down. And from here, we're going to shift back again towards pose of a child. Again, you can keep your hips up more if you want. Just one more breath there. And then, just for fun, shift back onto your forearms. Clasp your hands. Send your pinky finger out, all right? And then if you can, go ahead and walk up into a little dolphin pose. Just see how that feels in your shoulders after all that you just did. You can walk a little in your dolphin, just release one heel at a time towards the ground, looking back towards your feet, let your head hang. And then we're going to bring our knees on back down. You may want your blocks under your hands because we're going to step our left foot forward and our right foot back for lunge. So coming into that first lunge now. So be mindful, let yourself feel your body, whole body in the lunge. Take your time if you need to kind of move around a little bit, and, little pulses if they feel good. And then see if you can bring your left hand up above your knee, maybe even your right hand too, right? Some of you may even be fine to lift all the way up, hands to your heart, coming into a high lunge, right? Not necessary to do that unless you choose to. Keeping your hands down is fine. And then we're going to come on back down. We're going to switch our legs out. So coming to the other side. So So again, take your time to really feel the lunge. Get into it. Doesn't mean you have to lift up at all. You know, if you feel like it feels kind of good to bring your hands to your thigh, you can stay leaning forward. You can have your hands on your blocks. You can, if you want, try to bring your hands up and bring your shoulders over your hips. And then we're again going to release back forward. Good. And let's step forward and come into standing forward bend from here. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. Go ahead and bend your knees quite a bit. Really letting your weight shift a little to your heels, just a little. So your hips shift back a little bit. Your body is feeling very released, whether you have hands on the floor or your blocks or wherever you want. And then just ease your way. Kind of walk a little bit in your Uttanasana, bend one knee at a time. Let the upper body sway a little bit from side to side, or just move a little bit around where it feels good. And then when you're ready, coming on back into releasing wherever you feel like you want to release to. Hands to the elbows, elbows above the knees if you need, hands on the blocks. And easy, full, deep breaths. The best part, full, deep breaths. All the way in, all the way out. And imagine letting go through your jaw. And we will from here let our hands come on up to our hips, bend our knees and rise on up. Inhaling our arms all the way out and up overhead. And as we exhale our hands down, really feel the hands together as they come to rest right in front of your chest, right where it's comfortable. Coming into your mountain pose, feet equally grounded through the floor, pressing down into your feet, thighs lifting up towards the hips, tailbone dropping down towards between your heels. And as we then unfold our arms right down beside us, we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, fold forward from the hips, bend the knees as you come into standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you find that long back. Does not matter whether you want your hands out on the floor in front of you, or your shins, or your blocks. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into that downward facing dog pose. So take your time, adjust your dog, spread your fingers wide now. Start with your hands. Feel your hands on the floor. Press back out of your hands. Feel the elbows softly hugging in. There are your shoulders. Keep on going through the sides of the body so you're reaching back through your sitting bones equally. And then enjoy the backs of the legs however you need to. Knees can be bent or straight. And we'll come on out towards a plank. Nice strong plank. Engage your belly. Feel really good about being there. And to lower down, if you'd like to put your knees down first, do, or you can come through a full push-up, elbows right by the ribs. Bring your arms straight out from your shoulders now, a T position. Come onto your fingertips on the floor. Right? And then from there, just float your head and your legs up a little bit. So there you are, a little variation of locust. See if your hands can float up too. And then start to bring the arms down so they're down into more traditional locust arms, right out beside you there now. Reaching the fingertips and the toes back towards the wall behind you. Draw your toes back a little bit if you can, pressing into the balls of your feet. And then we're going to lower on down, and we're going to make our way back to down dog, whether you come through a half push-up or a full push-up. Or back just to your hands and knees and back into dog. Walk your dog a little bit, just real easily, find a little more there for the backs of your legs. And then come on back to full dog. This time we'll bring the right foot forward to come into lunge. And then we'll make our way back into our standing forward bend. So get set there, be easy, be mindful, really, what feels good. You need some support. Do you feel better just to release your whole body forward? Do you want to bring your hands to your elbows. Just appreciate those nice, full, deep breaths. Good. And we will from here let our hands come up to our hips, press into our feet and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, as our hands come down, let ourselves come into mountain pose. Spreading the fingers nice and wide. Good. We're going to unfold our arms right on back down and inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bend the knees as you come back into standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you find that nice long back. And we'll step the left foot back this time into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Good. Let's come on out to plank. Once you're in plank, nice and strong, lift your right foot up off the floor. Bring your knee in a little towards your chest. And then come back to that three-legged plank and put that foot down. And then bring the left foot up and bring the knee in. Try to stay really strong. You're just staying the same in the pelvis there. Bring the foot back and lower it down. And we're going to lower down to the mat. Knees first if you need. Elbows right by the rib. This time let's come to Sphinx first. Let your elbows come underneath your shoulders. And of course, if that's too much, slide your elbows down more towards your waist. And let your hands be palms down, but kind of relax through your fingers here. Let your hands relax a little bit. Just feel easy. Feel what's happening here in the front of the body, in the back of the body. Belly is just gently engaged. Good. And then come about halfway down to the floor, but slide your hands back by your chest, and there you are in a little cobra pose. If you want to go up higher, you just press into your hands and come on up. If not, stay right where you are. Elbows hugging in towards the ribs. And then we're going to release and come back down. Now curl your toes under. Keep your head down on the floor for a second. And lift your knees up off the floor. Right? So now you're kind of stretching the bottoms of your feet out a little bit. You're just really enjoying opening up the bottoms of the feet there. And then bring your thighs back down. Come back to pointing your toes for a second. Let's come up again into a little cobra. Again, it can stay low. You can come all the way up high if you choose. Elbows in towards the ribs. And from whichever cobra you're in now, we're going to come into a down dog. So you may want to curl your toes under and lift back. That's if you're in the full one. Come down and shift your way back into dog, however you want. Walk a little bit, wag your tail around, turn your head side to side if that feels good. Whatever helps you release a little. Let your dog feel a little more comfortable, natural. And then we'll bring our left foot forward to come into lunge, so however you need to get there. And then we'll come on back into our standing forward bend, going right to your breaths. So finding those full deep breaths. Imagining your inhales and exhales are equally important. So that perhaps that sense of equality between the lengths of your inhales and exhales happens. And we will from here release our hands back up to our hips, press into our feet, rise on up, and inhale our arms out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down to the in front of our hearts. Enjoying your mountain pose. Let your hands just barely separate now. So they're still very, very, very close together, but it's like almost like you are going to slip a piece of paper between your hands, right? So they're just barely apart, and you can just feel the energy from your hands right there. And then as you slowly start to reconnect the hands, it might happen like kind of one finger at a time. Just let it be easy. Coming back to feeling a very light connection through your hands there. Feet equal in the floor. Let's keep our hands together and inhale them right up through the midline of the body. And on the exhale, open the arms like wings as we fold forward into standing forward bend. On your next inhale, find a nice long back. And exhale, right foot back to lunge. We'll move with our breath. Inhale. Exhale into down dog. And let your inhale bring you to plank. And let your exhale lower you down. And inhale into your cobra of choice. And exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way to the top of your breath. And letting your exhale bring you forward. Inhale, nice long back. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your down dog. Inhaling out to plank. Let your exhale lower you. And inhale into your cobra. And exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rise to the top of the breath. And let that exhale carry you forward. Inhale, nice long back. We're going to come to down dog. Place your hands. You can jump or walk yourself back. So be easy. Walk if you need to adjust your way into your down dog. Be mindful, feel the whole body there in the pose. And wiggle around however you want. Good. And from here, we're going to bring our left foot forward, and we're coming up for warrior two. You might want your blocks handy. Take your time. Line up your heels. Let that front knee be bent to that place where you're good to be, no farther forward than your ankle. Float your arms on out. Bring your right arm under your left. Give yourself a hug here. Let yourself really, as you do give yourself that hug, let your head tilt a little bit from side to side. And you might even want to roll the head, like bring your chin towards your chest, roll it one way and the other. And then once you finish, and you can bring your head on back up, chin parallel to the floor. If you want to head towards that full eagle arm wrap, you can. So feel that sense of ease now, opening up through the shoulders, feeling that release between the shoulder blades on your back. You can always float your elbows up a little if you want. And then let your elbows melt down. Unfold your arms right on down to your hands to your thighs. And we'll float the arms on up into our warrior two. So let your shoulders melt down. Reach the fingertips away from the midline. Enjoy. Good. We're going to turn that left palm up. And inhale. Reach up towards the sky. Nice full breath. And on the exhale, we'll come into that side angle. Forearm to the thigh. Swinging the right arm on up into line. Letting yourself press into that forearm. Think about your head being in line with your spine. So try not to drop the head down. Let it be where it feels like it's a part of your spine. Now look down at your left foot and you decide, do you want to take your hand and go a little bit lower? If you have a block there, you can go down with your hand onto the block if you choose to. If not, don't do it. If you can and it feels really good, let yourself be a little bit lower. You can go all the way to the floor if you want. Good. So one more breath here. And now we're going to turn to look at the floor. We're going to bring our right hand down and walk around into a wide-legged forward bend from here. So you can bring your blocks with you. You can have your hands on the floor. Go ahead and adjust, bending a knee at a time, and start to adjust your stance to the width that feels good for you. Take your time, let it feel like, okay, if I need to get a little shorter with my stance, I do, or a little bit more width. And then just ease your way. If you're fine, to go ahead and bring your hands down towards between your feet. Maybe you need to use support. Grab those blocks, use them underneath your forearms or your head. And be mindful there, accepting those easy, full, deep breaths. Feel the feet. Every once in a while, just press those feet away from each other like you're trying to make your mat longer with your feet. And imagine your inner thighs melting their way behind you. And then most importantly, just be with those breaths. Following your breath all the way in and all the way out. full deep breath. And then from here, we'll walk ourselves back so we can get back to that left foot, come back into lunge. And then from here, we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Walk to the tops of the feet a couple of times to work out through any kinks you might have in your feet there. Pressing into the top of the toes and letting the bottoms of the feet get a good stretch. Good. And then let's come on out to plank. Let's do a little side plank variation. So shifting to your left hand, put your right foot on the floor so that when you open up into that side plank, that foot is right on the floor in front of you, giving you a little bit of help, a little bit of support. Stretching your right arm overhead. And then we'll come on back down, come through your plank, walk a little bit if you want, adjust how you need, let your hips get a little higher if you need. And then again, you're going to shift to the right foot, to the outside of that right foot, and the left foot kind of comes on the floor in front of you. That way it just gives you a little help. It's really not that much help. It's still a really hard side plank pose there. And then we'll come on back down, make your way back into dog again. Good. And then let's come on out to plank, put your knees down, shift back to pose of a child, and walk your hands over to the right. And once you get as far as you want, stay there and breathe. Let your head release down. Whether it touches the floor or not doesn't matter. And then walk back through center, and we'll go to the other side. So letting yourself walk over to the left. Breathing into the right ribs. And then come on back into center again. And from here, we'll come up to all fours, make our way back to down dog. You're on your own. If you want to do some vinyasas or kriyas, you're more than welcome to come out to a plank, move through to a back bend, however you choose, or not. You're welcome to stay in dog or put your knees down and come back into a child's pose. So finish off whatever you're doing, and if you're doing something two-sided, just make sure you even yourself out. Good. And we're going to bring our right foot forward. We're coming up to that warrior two, remember? So again, you may want your blocks handy. Get those heels in line. Line up your knee there. Just be really mindful getting that knee lined up. Let yourself release your arms. Kind of shake your hands out a little bit. And then float your arms up. Bring your left arm under your right. So the right arm's on top this time. We're giving a hug. And again, that movement of your head. Really, that's up to you. If you want to just tilt the head a little bit, maybe you just want to turn and look over one shoulder and then the other, or maybe you want to roll a little bit through your head. Let your head roll, and so your neck's released that way. And then, when you come back to center this next time, heading towards either a half eagle or an eagle arm wrap, let yourself be mindful so that you feel still that huge release between the shoulder blades on your back. Elbows can rise up a little bit if that feels good, but think about your shoulders melting down. We are going to then release the arms right on down, hands to our thighs, and float those arms on up and out into your warrior two arms. Bringing your gaze right out over the top of that right hand. Reach out through your fingertips. Let yourself feel your shoulders softening down. Press the feet gently away from each other. And then we'll turn that right palm up and inhale, reach up towards the sky. Nice full breath into the right side. And on the exhale, as you come to side angle, see if you can either use your hand or your forearm on your thigh at first. Swing that left arm on up into line, pressing into the forearm with a hand. And finding the positioning of your head where you don't feel like you're tensing your neck. Or dropping the head, which you can feel what that feels like. Good, so now look down towards the floor, towards your right foot there. And if you want to go lower, again, if you put your hand on a block, it's not that much lower than your forearm being on the block. You can go lower on the block. Block can be lower. You can go to the floor if you want. We're not going to lift back up from here, which to me is kind of a big thing. We're going to walk to, so it's easier to be in a lower pose when you know you're not coming back up out of it, right? Now turn to face the floor. Let yourself walk around now into your wide-legged forward bend. Again, you can use your blocks. Once you get situated with the feet, keep on walking over towards your left foot. So you're kind of adjusted. Now you can have your blocks, or you can go ahead and hold on to the outside of the foot or the ankle. Stay there and breathe. Let yourself really feel your head hanging. And then walk back through center and go to the other side. So again, you only go as far as you want. Once you get there, if you can, let your head hang due. So instead of lifting your chin up and tensing the back of your neck, try to let that go. Just stay here. Feel the left foot pressing a little more away from the midline. Nice. And then go ahead and come on back into center. And if you need to finagle a little bit, bend the knee at a time here, just play a little bit. So that when you get ready to come in to stay in the pose, you find a way where you can release as much as possible in your upper body. Whether you decide to have your hands between your feet or hold your ankles, or some of you might want to clasp your hands up on your back, let your arms come off your back, or even walk your hands behind you. Watching the breaths, full, deep, even as you can breaths. Remember, it's fine to bend your knees in this pose. Let your face and jaw relax. Like your inhales and exhales are equally important, and they'll start to even out in length. One more full deep breath here. Ready to walk your hands out, and we'll walk ourselves back to that right foot. Come on back into our lunge, and we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. So get set in your dog, and then get your feet come a little closer together, and lift your left leg up in the air behind you. Bend the knees, stack the left hip on top of the right. You can look underneath your left arm. And then straighten that leg out and start to square the hips. Turn the left toes down towards the ground. And we're going to come out to plank, and that left knee is going to come towards your left elbow, and then it's going to come across towards your right elbow, and then you're going to go back into that three-legged dog. And we're going to put that foot down. And we're going to lift the right foot up, bend the right knee, and open the hip. Stack the right hip on top of the left. Maybe you can look under your arm. Press back out of your hands really equally. And then straighten that right leg out. You're still turned out for a breath. But then go ahead and turn the toes down. You're square, your three-legged dog here. And we're going to come out like we're doing plank. We're going to bring that right knee to elbow, and then I'll cross to the left elbow with that knee, and then come back to your three legs. And then bring your foot on down, and you're on your own. Do what feels good. Put your knees down if you need, and come into child. Or let yourself come through for any kind of vinyasas or kriyas you want to do. Be mindful of your wrists, right, your shoulders. Good. And then finish off, and lean back in down dog. And from here, we're going to bring our left foot forward. You do want your blocks handy perhaps on this one. We're going to come into warrior one. So actually, have your hands down either on the floor or the blocks. Adjust your back right foot to that angle you think you like for your warrior one before you even lift up. And then see if you can really use your core body to bring yourself up into warrior one, hands to your heart. So it feels pretty easy. And if you're like, well, that feels easy, so I get up there, and then it doesn't feel right, well, then adjust. If you need to adjust the angle of the back foot, let yourself be easy as you bring your gaze forward. And then just softly unfold your arms on down beside you. And we're going to inhale the right arm all the way out and up overhead. And then as we exhale, we're going to bring it down. Now be aware of what happens when your arms do this. The left arm is going to go next. So what happens in the belly and the side of the body and the hips and the back when the arm just rises up? And then exhale and let it come back down. And then we'll do both together. Inhaling both arms out and up overhead. And as we exhale, lowering them back down again. And this time, as you inhale your arms out and up, you can decide. You can stay in a wide V. You can clasp your hands if you like that. Hugging your elbows in, bringing the gaze up a little bit if you can. Feel that lift at the base of your shoulder blades. And just enjoy. Feel that openness in the front of the right hip. One more breath here. And then bring your gaze forward. Let your hands come right down through the midline to be in front of your heart. And lean forward a bit like you're looking over a cliff, really. But you're not leaning with the breaking at the waist, right? It's a very long line. And we're going to come into twist from here. Some of you might want to just reach over and bring your right elbow to your left knee and bring your hands into prayer hands. Some of you might want to put your right hand down on the block of the floor and come into your twist there. And now, once you're there, release that heel directly behind you. Right? So now you're coming into that full lunge and the heel is reaching right behind your foot. Good. And then we're going to come on back down with the hand, and we're going to make our way back into downward facing dog pose from here. So once you're in dog, again, this time you're really on your own. Do what immediately feels good. You know, me, I need to work my feet a little bit. Maybe you feel like you want to do some fast or slow vinyasas or kriyas. Maybe you feel like you want to just stay in your dog and enjoy having dog be a resting pose, right? So be mindful. If you're doing something two-sided, just make sure you even out and do both sides. Good. And then from there, we're going to make our way back into down dog. And we're going to bring our right foot forward. So again, start to get set with that back foot to come for a warrior one. So you've got yourself square to the front of your mat with your shoulders already. When you start to rise up and bring your hands to your heart, you'll kind of know if you feel like you're in a good place with that back foot. And if you don't feel quite right about the front knee bend, go ahead and look at it and adjust how you need to. Just feel nice and easy here, very balanced in your warrior one. And as you release your arms down beside you, remember, as you inhale your left arm up, think about what's happening, feel what happens in the core of the body here. And as you exhale, let it come back down. And then focusing on inhaling the right arm all the way up and what that feels like. And on the exhale, letting it come back down. Both arms together. Inhaling, rising the arms up as high as you want. And on the exhale, lowering them all the way back down. And then this time, as you inhale your arms up, they're going to stay. So you choose. Where do you want your arms? Do you want them hands together? Do you want them apart? You want to bring your gaze up a little bit, letting yourself feel that lift in the front of your body. Feel that equality between the back and the front of the body. Beautiful. One more breath. And then we're going to bring our hands down through the midline to be in front of our hearts again. Remember, we're going to kind of look over that cliff. So let yourself stay really long. Feel it in your quad, nice and strong there. Feel that long line down the back of the body. Very nice. And now from here, keep that back foot the way it is. Let yourself perhaps come into twist at first with your left hand down, or maybe you want to go ahead and bring your left elbow to your right knee, right? Now if you're there, it's a little bit harder to release that heel rather than the hand down. But if you can, go ahead and find lunge, even if you have to come out of the twist with the elbow and then come back into it again if you want, right? So be in your twist of choice. Take your time. And then we're going to release to bring our hand back down. We're going to come on back into downward facing dog pose. And from here, bend both your knees a lot. Let your belly come to your thighs. And then keep one knee really bent and straighten the other one out. So you're really pressing back out of your hands. You have no wrist crease anymore at all. And then bend the other knee and straighten the other one, so your belly's like almost pressing into your thigh, right? And then come on back, ease your way into what feels good to you. If you want to do a last vinyasa or kriya, you can. We're at the end here of these. And then we'll meet back in down dog. We're going to walk our feet wider on our mat, walk our hands back towards our feet. You may end up with your elbows above your knees if you're comfortable to do that. Or you can go ahead and bring yourself down into a squat if you want. Turning your toes out or keeping your feet more parallel. Bringing your feet closer together if you want to. Totally up to you, you know that. If you want to do a little crow pose, you're right there. If you're down close to the floor, you have your hands there. You want to practice a little bit of coming into that arm balance, you can. Totally optional, you know that. You play a little bit with that core strength. Be mindful. And when you're ready, bring your feet down so that you can lift your hips up and walk your feet into where they're parallel, hips distance apart. Come into your standing forward bend. Let yourself release. Remember, feel that sense of the weight of the torso forward, whether you have your elbows above your knees or you have your hands down towards the floor or on your elbows. Just allow the weight of the torso to help you just feel totally open up through the backs of your legs. And then we will bring our hands up to our hips, press into our feet, and come on up to standing. Lightheadedness here. See if you can inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And as you exhale your hands down, feel like your head is floating higher. And feel your feet equally grounded in the floor. And let yourself come into mountain pose. Just appreciating how the body wants to align itself. And your tailbone dropping down towards between your heels. And especially enjoy feeling the energy flowing through your body now. And then we'll go ahead and release our arms on down, shake out, do whatever you need to do to move. We're going to come to a wall. So let yourself bring the short edge of your mat into a wall. And this one can end up here if you need more space. I can move you. So Cynthia, if you want, actually, I'm leaving.
What did I say?
Are you going to do all the 10 things I'm going to do?
So if anybody wants to be right up here, I'm moving my stuff.
Good to see you.
Oh, good. Here we are. And we're going to turn. See if you have one there. Yeah. You okay there? That's probably not very clean in that lamp.
I'll get it.
It's probably not been moved in about, 3 years. So, all right, let's bring our hands to the wall. Just for a second, walk back. You can do fists. We're just going to really stretch our spines out here in a down dog with our hands at the wall. All right, so if your wrists are bugging you, go to fists, but find that 90-degree angle here at your hips. Let yourself just feel the hands in the wall, whatever part of the hands are there, and hug your elbows towards each other. Let yourself just enjoy it. Think about this really long, long back here. Let it feel good. It should feel like a huge relief. Your feet are under your hips, right? Nice, beautiful. Send your tailbone back a little bit. Remember, you don't want to tuck your tailbone up under you. You want it to reach it back behind you a little bit. Find that bit of a curve in your low back. Okay, now from there, come on down. Walk back to the wall. Let your hands come down. Turn around, get your blocks. And we're going to bring our blocks out in front of us here. And we're going to use the wall back here for a little warrior 3 with our right foot. Everybody do your right foot back to the wall. And get your hands underneath you so that you've got, that the blocks are right under your shoulders, right? So that left block is a little towards the pinky toe side of the foot, and the other one's right under your shoulders. You can drop your head, look back at your right toes, and know that they're facing down. Good. And then just see about bringing your left hand on up to your low back, and roll that shoulder up. Let the palm come down on your sacrum. Press now into each of your feet. Press down into your left foot, back into your right foot. Let yourself find that twist in the middle of the back. If you're so inclined to bring that left arm straight up from your shoulder, you can. That's up to you. Lengthening out through the top of your head. And then come on back down with that hand. Let both knees bend for a second. And see if you can think about bringing your left hand up to your thigh. You can even bring both hands up there onto your thigh if you want. With your knees a little bent is fine. You can come straighter legged if you want. If you want to release your arms and reach back towards the wall behind you with your hands, you can. And then bring your hands back down to the block. Bend both your knees again a little bit. And all we're going to do is bring that right foot off the wall, put it on the floor, and put our left foot right away up onto the wall. So again, get yourself aligned. Look back at that foot on the wall. Let yourself get your hands on your blocks in a place where you're really good to be. Feel the belly working. Engage the belly. Imagine you're drawing your hip pointer bones a little towards each other. Shift your weight to your left hand on the block. Bring your right hand on up. See if you can put it on your sacrum and roll that shoulder up into that twist. And it's optional to add the arm up. Totally optional. You don't need to. It's up to you and your shoulder. Beautiful. Lengthen out. Wow, nice, guys. Bring your hand on back down. Bend both your knees a second. Give yourself a break. See if maybe you can lift up the torso a little bit, putting the right hand on your thigh. You can straighten your legs out a little here if you want. You can bring both hands off the blocks if you want, right? And if you're like, well, I don't feel quite the right place, put your hands back down. Try it again. Maybe you can reach the arms back towards the wall behind you. Maybe not. Maybe you just want to hold on to the blocks for your life. And then when you're ready, let yourself release down. And you can squat however you want to release your hips. Maybe elbows above knees. Maybe walking back to the wall to put your hips in the wall and put your elbows above your knees. Or squatting down all the way. Right? So if you're able to squat and that feels really good, go for it. Take your time. Let your hips and your low back release. Good. And then from here, we're close to the ground, so we're going to come back with our feet towards the wall behind us. Touch your toes to the wall, and then sink on back with your hips. Take your time, come into your child's pose here, and let it feel really good. If you need to use your arms as a pillow, or your hands as a pillow, just let it feel like the best release, right? Just really easy release. Nice. And then we'll stretch our arms overhead. We're going to come on up to all fours, and we're going to come back into down dog with our heels up the wall. You might want your feet to be a little closer together to lift one foot up the wall. That's up to you, and you don't have to even do the foot up. You know that. If any of you want to walk your hands back towards the wall, you can, right? So that you get your hands more under your shoulders, which is, what you would do if you were working towards a handstand. And then you can walk your hands back out again so you can put that foot down and switch legs. And if you don't want to do any of this, don't do it. Right? So you can, if you want, walk your hands back so you're a little more over, shoulders over the wrist, if that feels okay. So take your time. You come down whenever you need from any of that. And if you're like, I am so done with being inverted at all, you can always turn around and lie with your legs up the wall, or you can go onto your forearms if you want. Get out of your hands and play with your dolphin pose or your forearm stand. That is totally up to you. You know that. Don't force it. If you want to just rest and sitting up with your head above your heart, you can sit on your heels. Sometimes that feels good. Or I love to sit on my heels and then just lean my head back into the wall. You can sit on a block and do that too. And then you put a block between your feet and sit and lean back into the wall. You can do a little camel if you're so inclined. And just be easy, let yourself do what feels really like the most relief for you, actually. And then if you were in a back bend, make sure you come forward to release yourself, okay? And then we're gonna bring our legs on around in front of us. So come on away from the wall, let your legs come out in front of you, move through your feet, your ankles a little bit, kind of windshield wiper blades your feet around a bit, do little leg bounces if that feels good, whatever feels releasing. And then just come on into sitting in that staff pose that we found earlier, so that you can send your inner thighs down towards the ground, hands down towards the floor. Feel the heels drawing back towards you. Press into the balls of your feet. Let it feel really good. Good. And then from there, just bring your left knee in and bring the foot across to the outside of your leg somewhere. Let your right hand just come onto that left knee. And we're going to go ahead and ease our way around into twist. Think of that right rib cage coming towards the left inner thigh. So you're still sitting just as tall as you were in staff. You're more than welcome to wrap your arm around your leg or go to the outside of the leg with your arm if you choose. Just let it feel good. One more breath. Still feel that right heel on the floor, draw it back towards you, and we're going to release back around into center. And all we're going to do is stretch the left leg back, find that staff pose briefly, keeping that length, remember. So once you bring the right knee in and you bring the foot across, keep that length when you put your left hand on your right knee. And as you exhale, imagine drawing your left rib cage over towards that right inner thigh. And that doesn't mean you have to add the arm to do anything like drastic, right? That's totally up to you. Get to where it's comfortable. Think about that twist coming in your back, not using your arms to force yourself. And then just enjoy. Letting that length happen up through the back of your throat. So you're not lifting your chin up, you're not tucking your chin under. Feel your sitting bones in the floor. One more inhale. And as you exhale, use your body, your belly and your back to bring you around to center and stretch your legs back out. And before you come down to your back, get your strap. And then we're going to release down onto our backs on the floor. Can this hopper end up without your strap? Go on down with your knees in. Once you get your knees in your chest, actually take your strap and put it across your shins a little bit. And just hold on close to your legs and just pull the strap down, pull it down so your low back is really melted into the floor. Just for a breath. Let your shoulders be nice and release towards the floor. And then just let the right foot come up in the air enough so you can put your strap across the ball of your right foot. And then as you extend that leg up, put your left foot down on the floor, right? Press into the strap with the ball of your foot. Doesn't matter whether you hold way low or up by your foot. Don't pull, just feel the weight of your leg. Let the knee bend a little bit and start to extend your left leg down long on the floor now. Feel that left leg directly underneath your hip. Feel the heel of the left foot on the floor. Press it down and draw it back towards you. And you're pressing into the ball of your foot, just like you're pressing into the ball of the foot on the strap. You're pressing into the air with your left foot. Both ends of the strap into your right hand. We're going to open that leg out to the right. Keep pressing into the strap with the ball of the foot. Find that outward hip rotation. It matters not how far you go, or how high or low the leg is either. Press into the strap, press into the ball of the left foot as well. Stay grounded in that left hip. And then come on back up to the top. We're gonna switch hands. Left hand comes over to get your strap. We're gonna come across the body. Right arm can stretch out beside you. You know that. You can come as far over as you want into a twist, or you can go 3 inches and feel a lot going on. If you like to turn to look to the right, away from the direction your leg's going, you can. Just enjoy letting the leg release here, letting the hips release. One more breath. And we're going to come back up to the top with the leg, come back to center, everything's back in. And then we're going to bend the left knee and put the foot in the strap, and we're going to put the right foot down on the floor as the left foot gets situated up there. And then when you're ready, extend the right leg down long. Now your left knee can be bent, you know that. You can have the leg farther away from you or closer. Remember, you're not trying to pull your leg in towards you. You do not want to feel a pulling sensation at your sitting bone. Just enjoy. Let the weight of your arms help you find a nice fullness in the back of your leg. And then we'll bring both ends of the strap into the left hand, and as we open out to the left, feel that right hip grounded. And rotate, heel upward a little bit towards the ceiling on that left foot. Now press into the balls of both feet. So again, that right heel is on the floor, but it's drawing back towards you a little bit. Good. And then come back up to the top of that leg, bring your right hand over to the strap, and as you stretch your left arm out beside you, you might want to go just 3 inches over to the right. Now that can get into the outside of the leg even deeper than if you go farther and farther with the leg. But sometimes that going farther and farther with the leg feels really good too, right? So just enjoy, let it feel good. Good. And of course, when you're ready, come back up to the top of that one. Do what feels good right now. You may want to take the strap off. I know some of you might want to put both your feet up in the strap. So play a little bit. Doesn't have to be a strap. You can be doing anything you want to do. You may feel better with coming into feet down and doing a little knees in, or doing a little bridge pose right here. You may decide you want to come into something else entirely. You might want to come down and do a plow pose. So be mindful, take your time. Let your body kind of take over, right? Instead of thinking too hard, let your body just do whatever pose or whatever movement. It does not have to be a yoga pose that is going to help you feel better. I'm going to get the lights first, and then I would be happy to bring bolsters, blankets, anything. Once you start to kind of stretch out, and if you feel like, oh, I just need something to help me be comfortable, I'll bring it.
I think the spin bolster really has
Spin
to be
bolster.
nice.
I like it. I would too. It might get kind of warm, but sweat.
I don't want to sweat on your blanket.
It's okay, it won't hurt it. So, I'm walking around. You know, it's important to be comfortable, so if you're not, please wave at me. I can bring you anything that sounds good to you. Anything at all.
Swirl.
Feeling the weight of your arms and your legs and letting yourself appreciate that ground underneath you. That support of the floor. Watching your breath now, so just accept your breaths as they come in and go out. Nothing you need to do in order to breathe. If it helps you to find those little spaces between your breaths, and let yourself feel like you're releasing even deeper in the spaces between your breaths again. If it helps you to count your breaths, come back to counting when your mind wanders, or think a word or a mantra that helps you refocus back. Just give your body and your brain these few minutes, trusting that your body will know what to do with the information that's just been given you. And allow yourself to completely and fully relax. take your time. Appreciate the ground a little bit longer, whether you want to stay on your back there or you want to roll to your right or your left side. Just easy about coming back. Physically moving. Of course, when you feel like you're ready to rise up, so that you can float your way up to sitting however's comfortable. Let your eyes stay closed if you can too, so that you can just really stay internally focused in order to get yourself seated comfortably and not distracted by looking around. And you can focus in once you're seated on your breath again. Enjoy feeling the length of your spine. And enjoy feeling the breath coming in and going out through your nose. And let your next exhale, bring your hands gently to meet in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Happy Tuesday. So if I do not see you tomorrow, just remember, no class a week from